another day to help stimulate the mental. Time to strategize, huddle up, where's your circle? I can feel the movement radiate through the convo. Talk is cheap, turn your faith into work. I drink my second cup and put my hands in the dirt. 2 cups, drinking straight drip from the earth. Caffeinated conversations, you heard them here first. One for the wake up. One for the wake up. Two for the work. Caffeinated conversations, you heard them here first. Welcome back to 2 Cups Cafe, where I'm your host, Alan C. Jackson, aka 2 Cups, and who I have coming through for a high quality caffeinated conversation is none other than Carter Thomas. What's up, my brother?
How you doing, sir?
Now, I really wanted to give you a super big, intro, but I'm going to just walk this back where you are a licensed counselor. You have your own company, Good Counseling Christian. Say that like for me one time.
Good Company Christian Counseling.
Good company, because we keep good company, right?
That's right.
All right. So Good Company Christian Counseling. How long has your business been in operation?
This is the 12th year. I'm coming up on 13 years in December.
All right. That's beautiful. So I want to rewind it back, man. You have an interesting story that I think the world should hear. I know you do great work in the community. You've been an active counselor even before you started your own company. You worked in many facets, and if I believe it, we can rewind it all the way back. Man, you have a history in substance abuse counseling as well. And take me back, man. How did that start?
Well, it actually, it actually started when I had to go to treatment myself.
Okay.
Right, I was having some serious issues with some substances.
All right.
So I had to go and get some help, right? And so I started out at SASE, Substance Abuse Services Incorporated.
Okay.
Right. It was on Madison and 21st at the time.
If you don't mind, like, what's the era? Like, what's the 70s, the 80s? What's this?
This is the 90s.
This is the 90s?
SASE started in the 70s.
Okay.
On Door Street under Jack Ford.
Okay.
The late Jack Ford, wonderful man of God. But when I was working there, Jack was the CEO of the agency before he went on to be the state representative, before he was even the mayor.
Okay.
Before he was even doing any of that work in Toledo, he had started SASE. And so when I'm there in the 90s, right, early 90s is when I started working.
So how long did it take you with your bout with the substances?
Oh, my goodness. I was in my early 20s when I actually started going to get some help. So I had actually started using early on in my life.
Okay.
Right? So so by the time I got to my 20s, I had did some things, right?
Right.
So I was tired for real.
Yeah,
right?
so you want to say about a 10-year period, 20-year period?
Good Lord.
I'm just trying to give people the context so when we get to where we're going, they can see that.
So they can see where we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
I started smoking marijuana when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
And I stopped everything when I was 23 years old.
Okay. So
that's like 14 years of just, one of the things is in the black community, right? It was like normal. Because I'm smoking with family.
Exactly.
It ain't like I'm smoking with strangers.
You wasn't smoking marijuana, you was smoking reefers. And doobies. Come on.
Too much. Yeah, it was reefer back then, you know what I'm saying? We was smoking some weed, So again, I just go visit a cousin.
Yeah.
Right? And older male cousin, and they were smoking weed.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, they didn't even hesitate. They didn't even recognize that. Oh, they didn't even pay no attention to the fact that I was 9 years old.
Right.
They was like, here. And I was like, okay, I didn't know what I was doing.
So what came to the point to where you was like, man, I need to get some help with somebody? You get in some trouble, or you just was tired, or what? You was walking down the street, you saw the building one day, you walked in. What was it?
No, I had been through some things. I had lived some life. Right.
Okay.
I have talked to you before about homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 21 years old, I was living in Houston, Texas, and I was homeless in Houston, Texas at 21 years old. Right. So the way I got back to Ohio, I had called my mom and I said, listen, I'm down here doing dirtball bad. I need some help. And she said, well, I ain't gonna send you no money, but if you can get to the bus station, I have a ticket there waiting for you. That's how I got back to Ohio.
Okay.
My mother, again, had a bus ticket waiting for me.
Yeah.
I came back here. I didn't stop using at that point. You know, and I had been going through a whole bunch of different stuff. And my mother was actually saying, you need a good woman. You need to go to church. You need to go to church and get you a good woman, you know. So I did.
Yeah.
I did. I started going to church and I met this woman. And oh, man, that was the first time I actually gave my life to the Lord
Okay.
as an adult.
Yeah.
Right? I got saved again and again and again. But this time, I was like, I met this young lady, man, and my life was changing.
Okay.
Right? But I was still addicted to stuff, right?
Mm.
So this young lady and my mother convinced me to go to treatment for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I was doing bad.
Okay. And that was at Sassy, or was that another place?
Actually, the first place was in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
It's actually called Project Cure. And the church that I was attending actually helped me go down there to treatment for the first time. And I linked up with their sister church.
Yeah.
So the sister church took care of me while I was down there in Dayton. And, so it was a wonderful church. The church was called Tabernacle.
Okay.
The church was actually called Tabernacle,
That's what's
right? And so I go there and they just helped me.
Yeah.
Right? And they really did some good work with me.
So while you were there, like, were you like, man, this is something, like with the services you were receiving, was something like going on in your head, like other people need this, or I know so many people, because a lot of times as soon as we get something, we be like, we want to help somebody right away.
Yeah, I wish that was the case.
Okay. Well, tell me what happened.
I didn't care about nobody. No, I was still only thinking about me. So I had gotten in a fight when I was in treatment the first time, and they kicked me out. And so then I came back. When I came back to Toledo, I started back using for a short period of time, and then that's when I went to Sassy. And it was just one of those things where I was like, I can't do this. I had already went down to Dayton and got some help, and then I come back here and I started doing it again, right? Because it was a mistake that a lot of people make, and what I had made, because it was crack. I was, crack. I was a crack fiend.
Okay.
The word fiend means evil spirit, and so I was being controlled by this evil spirit, right? And so I come back to Toledo, and I'm thinking, wow, as long as I'm not doing crack, I'll be okay.
Right.
When I was smoking weed or reefer,
right.
I was cool then. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought. I was cool. When I was just smoking and drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lie that I was telling myself.
Yeah.
That was just this particular substance. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand addictive thinking. I didn't understand, patterns. I didn't understand, breaking cyclical patterns. I didn't know none of that. I didn't know anything about the vicious cycle of addiction. I didn't know any of that. So when I came back and I started back to smoking weed, and the weed led me right back to crack.
Okay. Yeah. So that was after Sassy even, or?
No, this was before Sassy.
Okay.
So I just, again, when I came back from Project Cure, and I just started back to smoking weed.
Okay.
And so when I went to Sassy, it was like crack cocaine that brought me to my knees. Really. I didn't humble myself, so I was humiliated.
Yeah.
Right. And I was living a life that I didn't want to live. Right.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend, giving a shout out to Frank Johnson. He said, if you can get here on this day, we got a bed for you. So I did 6 months inpatient treatment at Sassy, when they had a residential treatment facility for men. They had one for men and women.
Okay.
And I went in for 6 months.
Did you have children at the time?
No, I didn't have no children.
Okay.
Praise God, I didn't have no children at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just ruin their lives.
So you did the 6 months residential.
Right.
And then in that process, like, did you learn about the addictive behavior and the mental health component then?
No, I didn't learn about the mental health component then.
See, because I know back in the back when when I was coming up, like crack was more seen as criminal. They didn't really marry the addictiveness or the behavior or the mentality or the trauma that led to using substances back then. It was just more so like you said, you're a crack fiend. You just need to get off it, leave it alone, and,
Right.
and that. So how like when did you see the shift between just treatment and then the mental health component, kind of understanding that part of it? Was that after you began in counseling?
It was when I started working in an agency. So I actually started at Sassy, right? And I started at Sassy. It was a methadone clinic, right? And so everybody that was on methadone had to come, and they had to leave a urine screen. Right?
Okay.
So I was the guy that was collecting urine screens for the men.
Okay.
Right. So that's how I actually started in the field of substance abuse. Watching folks go urinate in a cup.
So tell me this. So like, what was it? Was it the people at Sassy when you went there and they was like, hey Carter, man, you can help people, or what was it like?
It was another agency.
Okay.
The agency no longer exists, so I ain't even gonna mention the name.
Okay.
But it was at that agency that every day I went to work, literally every day I went to work, somebody asked me had I registered for school. The majority of people at that agency was in school. They was
Okay.
at the University of Toledo, and they was asking me every day, "Did you register? Did you register? Did
Okay.
you register?" I mean, no, I'm serious. It was a broken record. I went and registered for school.
Just so they leave you alone,
Man, so they can just leave me alone, man. But while I was working at that agency, it was people that was on medications for mental health that I didn't know anything about. You know, so they was for bipolar depression or anxiety disorder, and I didn't know anything about what they were doing. Right, all I was doing was monitoring and having them sign in the book that they took their medication. So I'm just watching them take their medication, watching them document that they taking it, and that was it. Right, but I didn't know what was going on. Right, I was really lost.
I got
right?
you.
So when they was telling me to go back to school, the only thing that came to my mind was mental health. So
Okay.
I took up mental health technology at Scott Park campus and started in March of 1997.
All right. And so that process led you to when you graduated from University of Toledo. What was next for you?
Well, when I was at the University of Toledo, I had to do a year internship, and I
Okay.
did my internship as Zeph,
Okay.
right? And so it was just opening my eyes to the dual population, people that had substance abuse as well as mental health.
Yeah.
Right? So this is me starting learning about treatment and treating both. You know,
Okay.
because a lot of people was wondering which came first, the chicken or the egg.
Right.
Right. And it was like it didn't matter if it was mental health or if it was substance abuse that came first. Right. It was just about let's treat both of them simultaneously.
Right.
So I was working at Zeph and I was really learning about, okay, we need you to stop using substance, of course, right? But we need to be treating your mental health at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So we was again, that was the dual recovery program.
Yeah, because the substances, just working with a lot of young people that have addiction issues. A lot of times the substances are kind of like self-medication,
Exactly.
and then they familiar with how they've been medicating themselves, and they know how that feels. So now when you try to get them to get off of that quote unquote medication and get on something more structured, they don't like the differences of how it feels.
Right. Because it's still today, especially with the legalizing of marijuana, if we just take this whole full circle, with the legalizing medication of marijuana, it's like it really does help people. I mean, because marijuana is a sedative.
Yeah.
So it calms people down.
Yeah.
It makes people chill. If you ever know anybody that smoke weed,
Oh, yeah.
they're usually cool.
For sure.
Now that paranoia will kick in, but for the most part, they cool. They chill.
Yeah, and I think that's the what a lot of the young people don't understand. Like depending on their different body chemistries, somebody might be chill, but then somebody their body chemistry might make them like severely paranoid.
Yeah, so severely paranoid.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've worked with people again that had severe mental illness that was taking marijuana. So when they were smoking marijuana and they had schizophrenia, that's what they was diagnosed with, schizophrenia. They got real paranoid.
Yeah.
Right, and they would go into hiding. I mean, literally, people, it would take days for their family to find them. Right.
And somebody might think they must be on something else because people on weed don't act like that. But then you come to find out that whatever their, like you said, their diagnosis or their body makeup, it just causes them to react in a way that the average guy just hanging out don't get that effect.
Most definitely. I mean, this young man in particular, his life ended tragically, because of the paranoia.
Yeah.
Right. So again, family member was giving him marijuana thinking it was helping him, and it really led to his death.
Right. Man, that's
It really did.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But tell me this. So now you're working, you kind of coming through, your mental health education, you're practicing as far as like in the different agencies and whatnot. And what are you seeing as far as, you're seeing different communities, but what are you seeing like as far as like the African American community at that time?
At that time, I was seeing, one of the things is when we talk about diagnosing, I've been able to diagnose people for 20 years. It's actually my 20th year. So in 2004, I became a licensed social worker where I was diagnosing people. Prior to that, I was just seeing a whole lot. Okay, I would talk to a psychiatrist or a therapist, and they would tell me what it was.
Yeah.
Right? But as I continued in education and getting licensed and everything, I came to find out and see for myself, right? But so what I was seeing and what even research shows that a lot of black people were being misdiagnosed, right? So you have a lot of, especially African American males, that is actually diagnosed with schizophrenia, but it may be bipolar disorder, right? Or it may be trauma. I mean, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
So they actually could be dealing with something
Like
that
PTSD or something like that.
a lot of things. A lot of things. Yeah. But yeah, PTSD is because it's post-traumatic stress disorder, right? But some of them may just have the symptoms and not have the whole full diagnosis.
Okay.
Now you got me into this whole conversation.
Come on. Come on. It'll help somebody.
So you may have the symptoms, but not the disorder. And a disorder is it affects your daily living activities, right?
Okay.
So when we talk about disorder, you can really see that a person's life has been dishambled, and it's affecting them family life.
Yeah.
It's affecting them socially. It may be affecting them in school.
Yeah.
It may be affecting them in work, right? And so you can see how the disorder is affecting them in all these different areas.
Okay.
I know people that literally cannot go to work because their disorder is out of order, right? They're not stable on their medication, right? Or they may never have been treated for their trauma, right? And so now you're taking medications, but the traumatic memories and the thoughts and the flashbacks and all these things and being triggered by this, that, and another, it hasn't been addressed, right? Yeah. And so because it's left unaddressed, right? And so even as far as in the African American community, when we talk about racism and we say it the way that it's happening, people just they just tripping. Everything is about race.
Right.
Well, hey, Dr. West wrote the book called Race Matters.
Right.
And he was really pointing out that race does matter in every situation.
Right.
Right? And so we have a bunch of our people that have been for centuries that have been locked and loaded in trauma that has gone untreated. Right? And when we just talk about just generation and generations and generations.
So how do you like when you broach that conversation about race and trauma and generations, like how do you unpack that to somebody that feels like it don't exist?
Well, with our people, it's really about just let's get honest. Let's talk about what's really going on in your life. Right. And if we can see and they can see and just recognize what's really been going on in their life and just the pattern. Right. So you're just gonna try to tell me you just lost that job for no reason at all? You're gonna try to tell me that the way those people treated you in that store, there was nothing about it?
Right.
I remember attending a wedding and I have a tuxedo on. A tuxedo.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you hear me. I got a tuxedo on. And I go into a store and the security guard immediately started following me.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, what? And then I'm seeing people come in that's nowhere nearly dressed as I have a tuxedo. I'm gonna keep saying that I have a tuxedo on. And this dude is following me. That I literally stopped and said, dude, why are you following me?
Right.
Why are you following me? I said, you see these people that's coming in? Because you can see the mirrors. I said, look at the people that's coming in the store.
Right.
And you're following me. I said, you see how I'm dressed? You know what I'm saying? See, but I'm a young black man at this time.
Right.
This was several decades ago, but it was still that whole thing of why are you following me in the store? And then you tell people that, and they're like, oh, man, get out of here, man.
Right.
Something true. Look, let's go to George Floyd, for instance, right? So when the whole George Floyd incident went down, I was on Facebook and I was just sharing stuff with people. And the thing that they didn't recognize, I had to tell people, that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I was chased by the police. I was in our own community. A car come racing up the street in the dark, right? And I take off running because there's a car just coming up the road.
Right.
So when I'm already running, my adrenaline is going, they're going to say, police, stop, police. I'm already running.
You're already running.
My adrenaline is going, right? I don't know that you actually the police because I ain't looking behind me seeing who's coming, right? So anyways, when the police finally tackled me and necktied me, this cop was on my neck. I'm telling you, just
you
like,
couldn't breathe,
man.
And people don't understand, like,
man, I'm talking about having straight up flashback. But when I was on Facebook, when I was on Facebook and I was saying it and I'm talking about my trauma and everything, and people was like, what is wrong with him? I was literally reliving that incident over and over again because if another police officer was not there for me, because he told him, you can get up off him now, we got him cuffed.
Got him, yeah.
He got him cuffed, get up off of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if this dude don't tell this grown man to get his knee off my neck,
right,
Is he getting off of me?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So people don't even understand that this happens like all the time with
Right.
us.
So then when you started talking about it, you felt like people were, oh man, what's wrong with Carter?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But I've actually done counseled white police officers in Ford County and Williams County, Henry County, Wood, and Fulton County. I've counseled police officers,
Yeah.
you know, on diversity.
Okay.
And I tell that story to them. And you can see the look on their face.
Right.
Like just in shock. You know, and they feel bad too. You can see you can see the white guilt on them.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I was like, oh man. Even though it wasn't them.
Right.
They know it was a fellow officer, you know, and so they feel that, and they're like, yeah. You know, but they like hearing me talk to them. They keep inviting me back.
So you said something, huh?
Yeah, they keep inviting me back. So,
Yeah, so we fast forward, we talk about what you were seeing in the misdiagnosis of African American males, and is that what led you to go to get your master's and start studying?
Again, God had good people around me that were just constantly speaking into my life. It actually was a woman named Jamila, who was Muslim.
Okay.
I practiced Islam at one time. That's a whole nother story.
Okay.
But this woman, she literally spoke into my life and said, you're going to go to the University of Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, she prophesied that I would go to the University of Michigan.
See, that's,
you know,
people don't, I mean, that's part of your story that I think that, you know, you kind of, I don't want to say you don't amp it up, but, you know, for those that don't know, like University of Michigan, as far as their academics, man, it's like going to a almost like a public Ivy League school, you know. I mean, and for you to be going through, you know, living as much life as you lived before you went there, and you know, like you said, to be addicted to substances, to be homeless, to be at that time you was a single father.
Yes, sir.
And then you know, I ain't gonna tell all your story, but you know, at that time you was a single father, had 2 young sons, and now you was going to get your master's in social work.
Yes, sir.
From the University of Michigan,
yes,
man.
Sir.
You just speak on that a little bit.
Yes, sir. So again, this woman is talking into my life, and she's speaking into my life. So, and then years go by. I'm working again in the mental health field. I'm just working, and the woman I'm married to today, she said, "Hey, we're gonna go to an open house at the University of Michigan." Man, I wasn't even thinking about the University of Michigan, but when she said that, that word came back to me. Somebody said I was gonna go to the University of Michigan. And so I said, well, maybe me going to visit is me going to the University of Michigan, because I'm literally going to the University of Michigan, right? See, you got to understand.
Visit.
I'm going to visit, right? Because you got to understand, see, the same year I was born, my uncle got a full ride scholarship to play football at Ohio State. So all I knew was Ohio State. That's all I knew was Buckeye, right? So somebody said, I'm going to Michigan. I'm like, man, you better get out of here. I ain't going to Michigan. So that word was spoken to me, Michigan. It came back to me. Oh, wow, University of Michigan. So I go and I start the process, right? I'm married at the time. My wife is doing wrong, which I don't know she's doing wrong. And I start this process. My whole life get derailed, right? My whole life get derailed. And I literally go from being married, a two-income household, and one day to become a single parent, one-income household. And I had to deal with that trauma of being a single parent, of just one day, just my whole world was just shattered. Yeah. You know, I'm living a life, you know, married with 2 small children, right? And it just changed in an instant, right? And so I just stopped the process of going to the University of Michigan. I stopped the application process, all that. And then the window opened up again, the opportunity opened up again. And I went to the same woman who had spoken that word over me, and I said, do you think this is a good time for me to apply again? She said, because she knew what was going on. She said, yeah, I think the timing is right.
It was like, I remember we had spoke before, it was like so many challenges that you had to overcome, man. And in your master's program, as far as like, you know, tragedy in your family and different things, man, like.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. So like my first semester, after getting accepted to the University of Michigan, I'm talking about I had people just walk with me and talk me through that process and getting there. And so my first semester in grad school, my grandson dies. Right? So my oldest child loses her first child. And my grandson, I actually was there in the delivery room. I cut his umbilical cord, right? So I'm at school when this. Anyway, she called me and gonna tell me, and I gotta get from school back to Toledo. I'm in Ann Arbor. I gotta get to because you gonna just told me my grandson is dead. Instead of telling me to get home,
Right.
you're gonna tell me this, so I have to deal with this. And I literally had to go into the student services and tell them what was going on with me to get me right, so I can
Get home.
get home, man. I couldn't get home because I was just walking through the school social work. I was in shock. I was walking into school. Just walking through I'm telling you, I'm just walking through the school, man. And then something just snapped. I know it was God. He said, go talk to somebody in student services.
Yeah.
And I did. Her name was Michelle. I said, Michelle, I need to talk to you. She said, come on in and sit down.
Yeah.
And I told her, and I just started bawling.
Yeah.
Right? So I cried as long as I needed to cry. How about this? I cried until I couldn't cry no more. You know, and then she said, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm good now. I said, yeah. Came home. You know what I'm saying? Found my daughter, did that. We had to go through that whole process, and it was rough. I mean, it really was. Again, like I said, it was my first semester. And if that wasn't bad enough, my next semester, I lost my aunt, my mother's sister, who every time I went to Lima, I'm originally from Lima, Ohio. Whenever I would go back to Lima, I would go to see my aunt, right? But when she died, because my grandson died, I buried all that, man. I'm serious. I just put it to the side because I had to finish this semester.
Right.
I had to finish that first semester because that first semester was actually a probationary period for me, right? Okay, real quick. University of Michigan has a non-baccalaureate program that they had at that time for over 30 years. But the way you could get in there is that you couldn't have already started on your bachelor's degree, right? You had to have an associate's degree, and you already had to have worked in the field, and you had to have extenuating circumstances. My extenuating circumstance was that I was a single parent. I had already worked in the field. I had a degree that qualified me for this, and that's why that woman was saying that too, because that's the same way that she went.
Okay.
So they only accept 7 students a year, so I was one of the 7.
Okay.
All right.
7 a year.
7 a year through that program. So I was one of the 7. But again, they walked me through to get there. But that first semester, again, was a probationary period. I had to make it through that first semester, right? Just to show that I could be in grad school. I had to show them. And so when my grandson dies, I'm like, I got to show them. I didn't come to the University of Michigan not to complete. Right? And so I just buried it. I just stuffed it to the side. But when my aunt died, all of it came out. I'm talking about the flood. Man, the floodgates opened, man. And I remember, because I'm doing my internship at Unison. I worked at Unison, too, in the dual recovery program. But I'm doing my internship at Unison. And this woman of God who was actually training me in art therapy, I find out about my aunt, and so she says to me, sit down. She's doing her therapy thing with me, right? Sit down, let me talk to you. And I say to her, I said, I can't sit down. I said, because if I sit down, I don't know when I'm going to get up. And I got to get my sons. I can't afford to break down right now. You can tell I'm feeling it right now.
For sure.
Because I was like, I can't do this. I know what you're trying to do.
Right.
Carol, I know what you're trying to do. I can't. I got to get my sons. Because if I sit down, you may think you may be able to put me back together, but I don't know that for sure.
Right.
So I can't let you do what you want to do for me. I can't. And so I just cut it off. And I left her office. I couldn't sit down, and I had to go get my sons, man. I just kept it moving. I just did. I just kept it moving, right? And, so I'm good. No, for real, I'm good because I put it back together, right? The next semester, my sister took her life. My sister that was 16 months older than me. This is my 3rd semester. I walked through a fog that 3rd semester. Still to today, over 20 years later, I still do not know how I got through that 3rd semester. Man, I don't know. I know it was all God, but I'm trying to tell me, it was a fog. I don't remember going to class. This trauma. People don't realize how trauma can have you. I don't remember driving to school. I don't remember taking any exams. I don't remember doing any assignments. I'm talking about for 16 weeks, I do not remember how I did it. I know God carried me through that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? You know how they got that poem, the footprints in the sand. Footprints in the sand. You know what I'm saying? You seen one, the guy was carrying you. You know what I'm saying? I know God carried me through that, but still today, I'm being honest. I don't know how I made it through. And people go to trying to rationalize
Right.
and try to make sense out of stuff. Well, you can't make sense out of something that don't make no sense.
No, you were absolutely right. Absolutely right.
You know, and I'm the one that lived it. So how you gonna tell me I lived it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I survived all that time.
Yeah.
You know, and then just to finish off my last semester, I lost my uncle.
Mhm.
You know, and it was just. And so when I graduated from the University of Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
it's the #1 social work program 10 years in a row. When I graduated, it was 10 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Right, #1 program in the nation.
Yeah.
I just want to make that emphasis on it. So I survived a program that's that prestigious,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with all this trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe in a God, I don't know what it's gonna take. I'm just done told you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't believe that God brought me through, then who did?
Mm.
Because it wasn't me.
Yeah, because you ain't had a mental whereabouts to get through that.
Come on, man.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And again, even as I was going through some of that, I'm dealing with past trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff is triggering. I'm dealing with present trauma, but it's connected with past trauma. So I got compound trauma that I'm dealing with at the same time.
Mm.
And I'm sitting up here, and I was able, man, I was a half a point from graduating with honors. A half a point.
Yeah.
With everything I just told y'all. Every semester I lost someone significant in my life, and I was a half a point from graduating. I mean, with graduating with honors.
Honest. So at any point did you feel like you was forsaken?
No.
So your faith just began to just get stronger and stronger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. God told me when I was in grad school, he says, I'm going to do more with this master's degree than you realize. Oh, man, I'm going through stuff, man. I'm in there quoting scripture, man.
Yeah.
It was people that was coming to me that was Christian, that wasn't making their faith known. I would be in class, man. I'd be preaching now. I didn't know I was preaching. I be prophesying. I didn't know I was even prophesying. And people would come to me like, later, they'd be like, man, you don't know how much you helped me then. I'm like, what? When you said da, 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 I'm like, oh, okay.
Say I'm just getting through here.
I'm trying to tell you.
Passing through.
I said it's not by spirit, it's not by might, but it's by the spirit. It's not by power, it's not by might, but it's by the spirit of the Lord. Man, I'm in class, man. These people are pushing on me, and they pushing in on me, man. They challenging me,
Yeah.
and I just quoted that scripture, man, and everybody got quiet.
Praise God, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw a picture you shared with me when I was at your office, when you was in your cap and gown, man, at University of Michigan. You
Yeah,
walk
man.
across the stage with your two small sons,
Yeah,
man.
man.
That was
Yeah.
powerful, man.
Oh yeah, they was 4 and 5. When I walked across the stage with my sons, it was being a father of a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and not knowing how to be a single parent. I didn't get married to be a single parent.
Right.
I done say that plenty of times. I did not get married to be a single parent.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it was like, well, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My father wasn't there. I know before we was talking about I lived with my father in L.A., but my father came back in my life when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
At this point, I'm 19 when I was in L.A. He let me stay with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that was it. But my father, alcoholism,
Yeah.
54 years old, took his life. He couldn't stop drinking.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't stop, couldn't stop. We get sick, hospital sick. Hospital sick. Every time he drank, he would have to be rushed to the hospital. But he didn't make it to the hospital that day. You know what I'm saying? He died a humiliating death, too. You know what I'm saying? The way his wife found him. But
Yeah. So, what was your first move after after U of M?
after U of M, I came back and what was my first job? My first job after graduating, I was working at a Connecting Point.
Okay.
I shouldn't have mentioned that agency. Another agency is no longer in existence.
A lot of people got. I ain't gonna say a lot of people got their start there though.
I know a lot of people got their start there.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of, and I don't want to go too far into this, but there's been a lot of places that have mistreated me that's no longer in existence.
Oh,
And
so you gonna leave it at that?
I'm gonna say it just like that. It says, "Touch not God's anointing and do His prophets no harm." Man, I'm sitting up here like I know places. No, I don't work at several places that's no longer in existence. I'm still here.
And they treat you bad.
Oh man,
I'm laughing, but I know it ain't funny on the inside.
hey, but hear what I'm saying though. They're no longer in existence.
Okay,
I'm still here.
He's still here.
I'm still here. I got an agency that's still here by the grace of God. every so often I rededicate my agency to God. I said, God gave me the agency, and every so often I said, God, this is your agency.
It's yours, man.
The success or failure is on you. So whatever you want to do, I be telling him, whatever you want to do, this is all you.
It's all you.
I keep giving it back to him.
So you came through. You got, you worked at an agency.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could speak on it. When did you get the I don't know if I'm fast forwarding to. You can rewind if you want to. When you had the vision of getting a place for fathers, that had no place to go with their children.
Man, you want me to cry for real, don't you? Listen, marriage is rough.
Yeah.
Marriage is tough, and a lot of people don't realize that. So it was one time my wife and we got into some disagreement, some heated discussion, some heated fellowship.
Yeah.
And so she threw me out, and I'm like, well, I got to take my sons with me. I ain't leaving with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I took my sons with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so all of us is homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reaching out for help, I called Cherry Street because I knew the executive director, who was the executive director at the time.
Yeah.
Right? I called him. He said, no, we ain't got nothing for you. And I'm calling these other places, and like nothing. I'm calling 411, 211, or whatever 11. I'm calling all the 11s. Somebody help me, please help me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was like nothing, man. There was literally nothing for men with children. I'm sitting up like, is this really?
But they had places for women with children.
Oh man, yeah, they got plenty of places for women. I'm sitting up here like nothing for men. Literally nothing. I remember when I was talking to people when I was a single parent, they said, oh, you act like you doing something. I said, I am doing something. What are you talking about? Why are you mad at me? Because
Right.
I didn't want to be a single parent.
Right.
And people would be hating on me for being a single parent.
Like you bragging because you're a man.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm looking for some help. What are you tripping on? You know what I'm saying? That's the insanity of people, man. I'm sitting there like, you mad at me? Like I wanted to be in this position?
Right. So when you saw that need, like, you didn't know that men could be in a similar situation and not have anywhere to turn.
Yeah. So, God gave me the vision then. Again, I'm talking to, our friend, Apostle Ward. And I'm saying, man, I gotta create a place, man. I gotta create a space for men. I said, nobody else was doing it. So I'm somebody. I said, somebody need to do it.
Yeah.
I am somebody.
Yeah.
So when God gave me the vision for the Father's house, that's what it was, out of John 14:2. My Father's house is many mansions or many rooms, and then so the Father's house became, was birthed in, and as far as the vision. And then it became part of my ministry, Time and Place of Refuge Ministry, the 501c3, that, again, God gave it to me.
Yeah.
He gave me the vision, for it and everything. He gave me the words. He gave me the mission statement and the vision statement.
Yeah.
Habakkuk 2, it actually says in 1 that, that the prophet said, I'm going to stand on my watch and I'm going to see what God says to me. And then he said, write the vision and make it plain. Right. So God is the one that gave me the vision because he spoke to me. He didn't just say, write the vision. He told me what the vision was.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So that's how I got the vision. And even I'm saying the Father's house, again, that was God. I know I was in a situation, but it was still God gave me the name, the Father's house, right?
I think like some of the most powerful like ministries or vocations come out from people that walk through similar situations. I don't think you have to, but I think when you have the experiential knowledge as well as, the technical knowledge, when you bring that together, you help people. Like, I was separated from my mom, for 7 years, and I tell the story a lot, and so when I take, juvenile boys in and care for them, I can empathize in a way where I know what it feels like, to feel unsafe or feel unsure about what the next steps are in life. So now when I'm walking beside you, there's a certain comfort you could bring that just can't come from, study.
No, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. lived out experience, man. It's like when they talk about experience is the best teacher. Now there's plenty of different ways to learn, but once you experienced it, man, it's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? A friend of mine used to say years friend taught me, he says, bought sense is better than told sense. I mean, once you done paid for it. Now, once you done paid for it, and it makes sense. You know, and again, that don't have to be for everybody's story, but I just know for me. I was at a friend of mine Saturday. It was his 60th birthday, right? And he asked me to open up in prayer, but he also preached. So it was his birthday, and he preached too. It was Sunday, right? It was Sunday, and the title of the message was "There was a reason why you went through hell."
Okay.
So he's talking about the 3 Hebrew boys. You know what I'm saying? And when you read that story and all that they went through, it was after then that the name of God was proclaimed like never before. I mean, even King Nebuchadnezzar says, if anybody even says anything negative about the 3 Hebrew boys, God, they will be torn from limb to limb. This man made a decree. You better not talk about those boys, God.
Yeah.
There's going to be some repercussions and some consequences. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So when he was saying that, there's a reason, I'm like, yeah, I know it's a reason. I'm still here, man.
So
I'm still here.
So tell me, like, when I know you counsel hundreds of people, thousands over the years.
Yeah.
How do you help them get past the bitterness of those experiences?
Yeah.
Because I know for me, like, I was angry, man. Like when I found out that the guy I was calling dad wasn't my biological father when I was like in my teens. I was mad at my mom. I was mad at God. I was mad at my circumstances. But it wasn't until like I was able to forgive that I was able to move forward in my life. But that was a spiritual awakening for me. But as far as like in your profession, how do you help those people get past the bitterness?
Yeah. It's really getting them to recognize what it's doing to them, right? And asking the question. So you done live with it this long. How much longer do you want to live? I'm just simplifying it.
Yeah.
It's really just getting them to see this is the situation you're in. How long you want to stay here?
Yeah.
I mean, because you came into counseling for a reason.
Right.
Right? And I believe you came into counseling to get some help. Okay, so let me help you with that. Right? And so that's what I do, right? I really just walk with people, meet them where they at, and let's take this journey. Even as before we started talking, so we go on a journey.
Yeah.
And that's what I be telling people. Let's just, let's do this together. I mean, I can help you. I promise you I can help you. I don't have people ask me, can you help me with this? I said, yeah, I can. Because I believe that God is going to give me whatever. Anybody that sit in front of me, I know that God is going to give me what I need to help that person. I don't believe anybody coming to me by accident.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah.
So what you tell them when you meet people that not ready? Like you just tell them I know you can't see everybody.
You're right. I can't see everybody. Everybody ain't my people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some folks don't get to come see me. Some folks see me one time. They see me one time and they say that's enough. I can't see that man no more. You know what I'm saying? No, I've counseled. So when I was in ministry school, because we didn't even get to that part. I got a ministry school too. But when I was in ministry school and I was doing my internship at this church, and one of the associate pastors needed some help, some counsel, right? And so he came to me for counseling. And I said, what? Hold on. So I said, let me go talk to your pastors. So I go to them. They said, oh, yeah, we sent him to you. I said, what? I said, well, let me call my pastor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I called one of my pastors, and I said, they asked me to counsel this pastor at this church. And he said, he encouraged me. Yeah. And he said, he felt that God was stretching me, that God was increasing my metron or my measure, right? And that's what he said to me. And he said, go, let God use you, right? And I was like, okay. And so it's just the things that I have faced. I know that God has just given me an opportunity to grow, right? And that's how I just look at it, an opportunity for me to grow. And I worked in an agency, man, that the guy, again, I ain't gonna even mention the name of the agency, but he would always say to us when we get difficult cases, right? He would say, this is our opportunity to grow.
Opportunity to grow. Yeah, I see that.
And so whenever we would have these very challenging cases, because we would always get, somebody would fax us and say, can y'all take this person in?
What they did?
Facts. What's that fact? We don't like facts. What's that?
Oh man, was it on a dial up or what was it?
Why you mess with me? I've been doing this for a minute, man. I've been doing this for a minute, man. You know what I'm saying? And so when they were sending that information, and we'll look at the case, right?
Yeah.
We'll see who the person is, right? And we have a team meeting and ask if we want to take this person or not.
Okay.
But the program director, he would take everybody, man. I mean, he wouldn't turn nobody away.
So you could do it.
He said, "Yeah, this is an opportunity to grow." You know, and I've worked with man, bruh. You better ask somebody. I don't work with some folks.
Work with them.
You know what I'm saying? No, man, I don't work with some folks, man. Some serious backgrounds. So even in 2008, when the heroin at the genesis of the heroin epidemic amongst white people, this new epidemic when it came. See, because in the 70s it was black people that was going through that, and everything was criminalized.
Right.
Like you talked about that earlier about crack, but that's the same way it was with heroin. It was criminalized.
Right.
When it came back around, and I was seeing it for the first time in 2008.
Okay.
Right? This 19-year-old white boy out of Defiance, Ohio, right? And it was just starting then. This monster was just starting to sweep the land at that time. And it was like treatment, you know, and then they started all the Suboxone, they started all the medicated assisted treatment, you know, MAT, you know, they started all that, man. But I was there, man. I watched this thing grow. You know, I watched it become powerful. I watched it get crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm working with people that had cancer and they was given Oxycontin and became addicted to it. Right, so they didn't go. They had cancer. They dealing with their pain.
They wasn't running around looking for a fix.
No, they weren't looking for nothing. This was their treatment. People that had their back broken. People that had some severe illnesses, man, injuries, illnesses, man. They was suffering from some serious stuff, man. They was getting this potent, but you know, it was just it was
a little pill.
It was, but it was heroin and a pill. That's all it was. It was heroin. It was still some very potent.
So when they couldn't afford
they
the
go
pill,
to the street.
they go to the street.
They go to the street, you know. So, you know, but again, I watched it in the black community. You know, I watched it happen with us, and it was just different. So when it came around this time, they treated it differently. I'm not for real. I'm happy that they treated it differently. I'm glad they didn't continue criminalizing it. Yeah, man, because they could have definitely criminalized it, and then we just have a whole bunch of people, and just like we got a whole bunch of people still in prison right now for selling marijuana.
Yeah. Might as well let them out, huh?
Yeah, they didn't legalize everything. You still got guys in, you know, you gave guys life sentence for selling weed.
Yeah.
Reefer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost. Weed? We talking about weed? I'm doing an Iverson soundbite. Weed? We talking about weed?
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me stop. Now, but it's serious though, man. We laughing about it, but it's like how you treat people that need treatment. These people need treatment. You know, so even when the movie came out, Painkiller, and they showed this in the movie, that shows how this woman is being real harsh on her brother for selling weed, man.
Right.
So I remember it might have been crack. It was a weed or crack. I can't remember in the movie Painkiller. But she's like hard on her brother, and so she's seeing what they was doing. And then it changed her heart. So even when you was talking about forgiveness earlier, because she was real angry at her brother, but it changed her heart when she started seeing differently. And that's what usually changed people's heart, when you start seeing from different eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna look through some different glasses. I'm gonna see things a little different. You know, let me have it change your perspective. I promise you, when you start seeing things differently, you start doing things differently. You start hearing differently too. You start speaking differently too. You start thinking differently. Okay, anyway.
No. Oh, that's powerful, man. I mean, like I say, you know, you had an opportunity to walk through different eras of substance abuse treatment, and even the way that we deal with trauma now. I mean, trauma is like, that word has been normalized really only in the last, 10, 15 years, as far as like open in the community. Because I know just from being in the field of work I work in with juveniles, we used to be about behavior modification. Just about, if I could just get you to do what I want you to do,
right?
If I get you to assimilate, then it don't really matter what's going on inside of you. As long as you can sit in this class and do this work, and at 2:30, 3 o'clock leave and go home and don't wind up, in juvenile justice. I don't care if you feel like, pulling your eyes out on the inside. But now it's like, it's so much, I think people think that it's getting overstated, but when you have these generations of just built up stuff, it's going to take a while to peel all those layers back and really get people to normalize treatment and not behavior management.
Oh yeah, most definitely. When I actually started asking questions about trauma when I was in undergrad, right? Because we ain't even talking about this, some of the stuff that I experienced, but I had lost all my hair when I was 11 years old.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm taking this class, abnormal psych, at the University of Toledo, and I go to my professor one day after class because I'm listening to him talking about the brain, right, and how something can go wrong in the brain, how it can cause this, that, and the third to happen. And so I just went to him and I said, "Hey, Doc, is it possible?" Dr. John Luton, giving a shout out to Dr. Luton. I said, "Is it possible that trauma caused my hair loss?" And he said, "Yeah, it's very possible." Because I'm listening to him talking about the brain,
right,
and I'm in this class and I'm learning stuff, right, and I'm sitting up here like, man, that's how I lost my hair. I'm literally sitting in class, so it was like I didn't bring it up in the classroom.
Right.
That's why I went to him afterwards and just asked him, right, because I knew that I was hearing something and I was seeing something that wasn't being talked about. We weren't even talking about it in class,
right.
but I know I heard something clicked because it had happened to me. Right.
So you remember that time when it did happen? Like, where you?
Yeah, the trauma that led to my hair loss. Yeah, I remember.
Okay. You ain't gotta go into it. You ain't gotta go into it.
yeah, I remember it very well. And I remember telling one of my cousins because I blamed my mom for it, and telling one of my cousins. And then she went to my mom and told her, right. And my mom, we sat down, we talked about it and everything. So watch this. My mother was a wonderful seamstress, right? And she started making me clothes, man. So we talking about Joseph, the coat of many colors. My mother made me all types of outfits.
Yeah.
I was the only one of her children that she was making these outfits for, right? So I was going to school, man, and stuff that you couldn't buy it.
You was fly, huh?
Oh, man. Watch out now. And my mother was making me all kinds of things, right, to wear, right? And it was her way of making them. She knew what she did. I mean, she knew what she did.
Yeah.
You can't get away from, you recognizing what happened, right? And so by her acknowledging it, but where her way of helping me through that process, you know what I'm saying? She was making me these clothes, man.
Yeah.
And, it helped me.
So when you lost your hair, they take you to doctors and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, they did. They did. Listen, I went to UTMC when it was MCO, when it was not even where they at now. It was folks like me. They did all those experiments on that led to that big old hospital they have. I'm serious. No, I'm serious, man. Oh man, trust and believe, bro. No, I was seeing them weekly.
Okay.
And they was running all types of tests on me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally their guinea pig because they had never seen it before. You know what I'm saying? They was seeing something they ain't never seen before.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what to do. Bro, when I say they didn't know what to do, they didn't know what to do. When I first went to treatment, when I was talking about in Dayton, Ohio, when I went there, it was a program that was on TV. They had been 12 years at that point, and they still didn't have an answer. 12 years later, you still don't have an answer?
Right.
I said, are you serious? You still don't have an answer for this? It's a dermatologist here named Dr. Hope Mitchell. Okay. Right, she was doing a podcast recently, and she was talking about, alopecia is the name for that's the Latin word for the hair loss. She was doing a show where they was really talking about women's hair loss. Man, it was 20 years they had stopped doing research on why women was losing their hair. So she's talking about this as a dermatologist. She said nobody's done any research in 20 years.
They just said this is how it is. Huh?
Just letting women just lose their hair, and people just stopped trying to figure out the answer. This is in women, right? But for me, I'm like, they didn't have no answer. Man, I'm 12 years later. I'm watching it on TV. They're talking about it on TV, and they still didn't have an answer. So when they was doing all this experiment on me, because they didn't have an answer, man, they didn't have a clue, bro. Yeah. And they just doing all kinds of tests, man. They put me on all kinds of medications, man. Got me big and skinny and patches of hair, no hair, until I just got to the point at 11 years old.
You said leave it alone.
Man, I told my mom, I said, I ain't going back to those people. I said, I'm done. It was not my mother's decision. It was my decision. And I stopped. I'm like, y'all ain't doing y'all ain't doing no more experiment. Y'all ain't taking no more blood from me. I'm watching people spill my blood, and then they want more blood. And I'm like, at 11 years old, I said, no, you ain't getting no more of my blood. They get that blood right there. Y'all must be. I was getting weekly blood draws, man. They was just, and they couldn't find veins, man. They just poking me, man. I was like a pin cushion, man. I'm sitting up and they running all these tests. Well, let's try you on this. Let's try you on this.
Right.
You don't even know what it's going to even do.
Right.
Oh, here you go. Man, I'm breaking out. Bruh, when I say I was a guinea pig, I'm telling you right now, I was a guinea pig.
Right.
They used anything that they thought. Well, let's just try it. Well, we got him here, so let's just try it on him. We don't have nobody else. We don't have no other specimen. I'm
Right.
sorry.
That's all right.
We don't have nobody else. So we talking about the trauma of my hair loss and then being re-traumatized by the medical community.
Right. And then you had to go to school. You know how we do.
Bruh.
Every time you have a good joke, they won't call you bald head.
Listen, I had a teacher, so my 6th grade in elementary, they let me wear a hat. But my 7th grade at Robinson Junior High, nah. I'm in the auditorium. I come in the auditorium, my hat off, the whole auditorium is laughing at me.
Man, what?
Everybody is laughing at me except one friend of mine. And I'm sitting there and I'm just crying. And he tapped me on my shoulder. I looked back. He said, you see, I ain't laughing. So giving a shout out to Levette.
Yeah.
That's my friend. I mean, we was boys, man. He said, you see, I'm not laughing.
Right.
And so it was that one person, man, that just helped me to get through that moment, man. You know what I'm saying? But God had the ram in the bush. He had one just there for me.
Somebody to lean on.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, man. This brother, man, helped me so much, man. I'm talking about, it changed my whole life, man. I'm serious.
No, I believe it.
It changed my whole life.
I believe it, man.
You know? Just having somebody just there saying, man, look, I ain't like the rest of them.
So all you need is, man, you don't need a whole crowd. You just need a friend.
That's it. And so that's why I look at it even as far as with me with counseling. When people call me, man, I'm that one person.
Yeah.
I'm that one person that's going to treat you differently. I'm that one person that's going to talk to you differently. Man, I already know, man, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't counsel like nobody. We just went through practically my whole story.
Told you we was going on a journey now.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about my whole life. You know what I'm saying? You know, I already beat the odds, man. You know what I'm saying? My mother doesn't even have a high school diploma. My mother just turned 81 on Sunday, man. My mother didn't even have her high school diploma.
Yeah.
You know, she got pregnant the first time having sex. You know, I had my sister. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah. But look, I mean, I got a master's degree. Man, I already beat the odds by just getting a master's degree with a parent that don't even have a high school diploma.
Right.
Man, I've been beating the odds for a minute here, and I'm still beating them. Watch me. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I'm just saying, watch me. See, because you're gonna say this is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in our sight. If you keep your eyes on me, you're gonna see God.
All right. I ain't trying to get you too riled up, man. You too much, man. I don't know why you messing with me, man. You got me over here in this seat, man. This seat is hot. This mic is hot. You got me over here telling all this stuff. It's all right, man. It's good for you, man.
No. But it is healing, though, man. And, you know, so even when we're talking to people about counseling, right, doing this allows people to heal. It's the holding the stuff in that keeps people sick. You know what I'm saying? So we had this saying, you know, you only as sick as the secrets that you keep.
I like that.
You know? Oh yeah, it's
some bars.
I got a few, you know what I'm saying? I mean over the years I done got all kinds of sayings, right? You know, but that's just a fellowship that
Say that one more time.
We only as sick as the secrets that we keep.
Okay.
You know. And it's just really just about exposing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Here it is in the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve sin. And they run into hiding. They go into hiding, right? Because they're ashamed and they naked. And God said, who told you that? You know what I'm saying? But they went and hid because they knew they did something wrong, right? And if God doesn't come looking for Adam, how long is he in hiding? I'm just saying.
Right.
Right? So when I started talking about Christian counseling and I'm in church, I bring up the example of Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, right? So I get people to look at it a little different. I said, so here it is. Cain kills Abel, and then God banishes him. So in one act, Adam and Eve lost 2 sons.
Yeah.
So how do you think they handle that? Because we don't talk about it. It's not written in Scripture, but we don't think that way. You gonna try to tell me that these parents that just lost 2 sons with one act didn't go through something? They didn't have to deal with anything? They didn't have no feelings about this?
Right.
Oh, they didn't have no feelings about God saying, your son, so my son kills my other son, and then you send my son away? And we don't even talk about that? When have you ever heard of somebody preach on that one?
Nah, I ain't never heard it.
I see. I know we got D over here, but I'm just trying to tell you. I mean, his father's a great man of God, a great preacher. I'm pretty sure because God gave it to me when He was talking about counseling. Because we're dealing with trauma in the first family that we don't even talk about.
Right out the gate, huh?
How do we just keep glossing over what happened to Adam and Eve and we don't talk about it, and we don't say the trauma that happened? Their son killed their other son. We talk about murder, the first murder written about. And we just like, we
don't question God.
Really?
That's what we was taught.
Yeah. But what happened to the parents, though? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. What happened to them? So you just telling me they was good? Okay. Okay, let's keep going with that one. Because there's no way that any one of us will lose a child, nevertheless 2,
Right.
and not feel some kind of way.
No, 100%. So and that's interesting. I know the context of what you bringing that up because in the in African American churches, counseling was frowned upon some years ago. I mean, they're more open to it now, you know, and we have some great counseling programs through a lot of ministries. But there was a time to where it was looked at as like secular or taboo.
Yeah, or just for white folk. I mean, that's what we said. I mean, I heard it. We don't go to counseling. So even when people would ask me, did you go to counseling? I said, I ain't crazy.
Right.
I just lost my hair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was insane for me not to go and get professional help. Man, it was very traumatic. Man, I had the stuff that I had to deal with day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that I had to deal with.
Right.
Man, even when I was losing my hair, right? I'm combing my hair. You deal with your beard. Yeah. I'm combing my hair, and as I'm combing my hair, whole chunks of hair is in the comb. Can you imagine seeing that, man? You sitting up here, you 11 years old. Right. No, actually, I was 10 at the time. I'm 10 years old. I'm combing my hair, and then hair. I'm like, what is this? So I go to my mama, and I say, Mom, look at this. So she don't believe me.
She's like, you cut that hair out.
So she takes the comb, and she does it. All my hair, it just comes up, man. It just comes out. I ain't talking about pulling my hair out. She just combing it, and it just come out. Like, this is wild. Ain't nobody has seen nothing like that before, man.
Right.
We ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Right.
Have you ever heard of anything like that before?
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Even after all these years. You see what I'm saying? Even after all these years. We talking about 40, 50 years. Because again, it started when I was 10. Yeah. It was 50 years. I just shared a story with you. You're like, I ain't never heard nothing like that before. And so just imagine living it.
Right.
And so, no, my mother didn't go and give me no help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I first went into treatment and I had a good counselor, we delved into all that.
So you got a chance to
unpack some of that
rewind
stuff.
it back and just really.
Oh, yeah, man.
Man. I
had to deal with that, man. And even including as far as what I had to deal with at UTMC. Well, it was MCO at the time.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, man, they treated me dirtball bad, man. I'm sitting up here like, are y'all serious? Man, they didn't care. They didn't care about this little black boy.
Right.
All they want to know, let us do research. Let us get some information. Maybe, see, they weren't talking to me, well, what you learn, you teaching us so we can help other people. They didn't present it like that. Maybe if they were presenting like that, it might have been a little different. I wouldn't mind being a trailblazer because I was a trailblazer, but I wouldn't have mind. I might not have mind being a trailblazer at the time if they would have presented better, but all they was doing was just running me through tests, man, spilling my blood right in front of me, man, and talking about, well, let us know we got to do something. I'm like, you better get up out of here. I told that woman, I remember telling her just clearly, no.
Right.
She probably thinking, who is this 11-year-old boy trying
So, yeah.
telling me what
So you protecting yourself at that point. Yeah. I know what you're trying about to say.
you gonna tell her? I said, well, we better get away from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was getting my voice then. I didn't know I was getting a voice then, though. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
The trauma brought me.
It's all the things you had to go through.
Oh man,
You speak up for yourself.
Man, listen, I'm my strongest advocate. Ain't nobody gonna speak up for me like I speak up for me.
So you're gonna let them know. You hurt me. You
tell
hit me, I'm gonna say ow, huh?
I'm trying to tell you, I'm a voice, not an echo.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm gonna say something.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna say something. You could just treat me any kind of way and not say something.
Right.
Oh no, man, I said stuff to people, man, that they be like, they looking at me like, are you really saying that to me? I'm like, yeah. But look where it started at.
Right.
I started doing it at 11. You think at 59, I'm about to turn 60, I'm gonna stop saying it?
Right.
You better go.
I feel you.
I mean, God done gave me a voice, man. If God didn't want me saying something, he had a chance to silence me. And he actually, okay, so here's a part of my story that, let me just share this, because it's a miracle of God, right? 23 years old, I'm drunk out of my mind. I get on a freight train, it's moving slow, right? I jump off the train when it's freighting. I die. God brings me back. I continue using drugs because even when I got up and I went to the crack house and I told them what had just happened, I had just jumped off the train. Man, get out of here, man. Here, hit this thing. Because they don't believe me. I don't even believe me.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with them not believing me. I don't believe me that I just jumped off a freight train and I'm here to tell you the story. And I'm not hurt.
Yeah.
Bruh, I'm not hurt at all. My glasses is all broken up. But I have like 0 injuries, no broken bones, no scrapes, no cuts, no nothing. I'm talking about no bruises, no nothing. Years later, God tells me, you know you died. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. So at 23 years old, I died and God brought me back. And you think I'm going to be quiet?
You said they're going to be quiet.
And this was over 10 years ago when God told me this, right? So on my 50th birthday, I'm at a church. I go to a church on my 50th birthday. I go to another church to fellowship with them. While I'm sitting there, the dude sitting across the table, he never met me. He said, God said, remember what he told you when you was 23. I'm like, I don't even know what God told me when I was 23. So I'm talking to Warwick, Apostle Warwick, and I'm telling him, I said, man, I don't even know what God even told me. And God speaks it to me. He said, I told you to get up.
All right.
That's my next book.
Okay.
Get up.
That's all right.
So you want to give me this recording because some of this stuff is going to go in the book. You know what I'm saying?
Might as well use it. It's coming out. It's coming out,
man. It's coming out, man. I mean, before I turn 61, it will be published. I'm telling you right now, before I turn 61, it will be published.
Well, I want the first copy, man.
Oh, you got it, man. Sign.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I write this date, 3/20.
Yeah.
3:20. Yeah,
Okay.
Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who's able to do exceeding abundant, far beyond what we can ask or think, according to the power that is working within us. Revelations 3:20. He says, I stand at the door and knock. If anybody hears me and open the door, I come in and sup with them and them with me. That's Jesus talking. He's standing at the door of the church. Knocking. He's standing at the door of the church knocking, saying, let me in.
All right, we ain't about to preach on that right now.
So we're going to mark this day. This day on 3:20. We're going to mark this day, man.
That's all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm thoroughly enjoying this journey. Like I said, we was going to go on a journey, man.
Yeah, man.
And I think
That's
that
real.
you definitely did not disappoint. And I learned so much about you today, man. And I appreciate you sitting down. But before we get out of here, I'd be remiss if I didn't emphasize what 2 cups is about, man. I call it 2 cups, one for the wake, one for the work. That first cup is what's waking you up in the morning, what's inspiring you, what you're dreaming about, what's your visions for the future, and then the work. That second cup is what do you envision on putting in place just to carry out even the first small steps of that.
Yeah. Well, I think I was telling you, I woke up this morning, I had to go into prayer, right? And God been waking me up 3, 4 in the morning for years to pray, right? And so I wake up praying, right? And putting in the work. So the next thing, I want a building.
Okay.
I want a building that can house other counselors, that they can come in and do what they need to do. See, some people think about competition, man. I'm not in competition with nobody.
Yeah.
And you ain't in no competition with me unless you just make yourself that
Right,
way.
right.
Right? I mean, we have different restaurants selling the same stuff on the same block. I know we can get in the same building and do our thing, and nobody can stop us, and everybody will see people.
Yeah.
Everybody will see people, because who's for you is for you. You know what I'm saying? So the work that I want to do, man, I'm literally right now, my company is a global company. I seen somebody in Hong Kong Monday.
Yeah.
Okay? I got some folks set up. I just got somebody from Tanzania. You know, I counseled somebody in Saudi Arabia last week. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the dude I just told you about, man. The homeless dude. I'm talking about the crack fiend, man. I'm counseling people in a whole nother countries, man.
Yeah.
You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's you counseling people right now, man, on this show.
Yeah.
It's somebody hearing what you're talking about and our perspective stories that's gleaning from it, and just from what you were saying about all your different clients and stuff all over the country, all over the world, and that came from that's what one thing people, you know, all the horrible things that came out of the pandemic, but one of the things that kind of stayed on and remains after that is the normalization of being able to talk on, you know, over the World Wide Web or over streaming or the streaming platforms, and that's allowing you to be able to have a voice and an influence and be able to help people like all over the world, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's beautiful. When you was telling me about that, I was like, man, you could be in Toledo or in Ohio or wherever you are, and you could talk to somebody and help somebody like global.
Yeah. I'm seeing things right now, and God is giving me an opportunity to see what's happening in other parts of the world and how people are suffering just like we doing here. It's in a whole nother. So people think, oh, well, over here, they got to be doing da-da-da-da-da-da. Man, when I'm talking to those people in Hong Kong, and the woman is talking to me about racism, she's Filipino in Hong Kong, and she's talking about racism. She's talking to me, a black man, about racism, and she ain't even blinking an eye. Like I wanted to say, you don't know my story? Hold on, you don't know our sojourn here in America? Because she's sitting up here talking about racism like
you don't understand it.
No, you don't understand. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand the racism I'm feeling over here. I'm sitting up here like, and I'm just listening to her. And I'm saying, yeah, I know that has to be tough.
Yes, sir. So you say you want a building.
Yeah, I want a building, man.
All right.
I want a building to house other counselors, man. Because, you know, as much as we do things as far as streaming, you know, telehealth, you know, so people, I never stop seeing people face to face. I'm an essential worker. So even during the pandemic, I just stretched my office out. I just gave space. It's still straight out. I mean, you've seen that, you know. I still got space in my office for people. They don't have to sit like we right on top of each other, you know.
Yeah.
And we good, man. We good.
So that's gonna be the next for the work. That's gonna be acquiring that building.
Yeah, I want the building, man. I'm telling you, I just want to give other people a chance. Somebody gave me a chance, man.
Yeah.
Somebody opened the door for me, right? Dr. Linda Winnington Clark brought me to Toledo and taught me most of the stuff I know right now.
Okay.
All right, as far as insurance, helping people,
The
all
business,
that. The business, man. She taught me the business, man. I'm sitting up here like, I just wanted to counsel. You know what I'm saying? But my business literally started in a local church in Wassian, Ohio.
Okay.
A church opened their door, said, we got some people for you to see. We got an office for you to be in, and we going to pay you. So they gave me the patience, the place, and the pay.
Okay. The 3 Ps.
I thought you were like that.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So then when I came to Toledo, it was like Dr. Linda gave me an opportunity, right, to come and start working with people.
Okay.
And the first person I saw in my practice here in Toledo was Muslim. So he allowed this Christian to help him, and I was able to help him.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, then about whatever religion you practice.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't counsel Satanists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't counsel people from the LGBTQ community knowing that I'm a Christian. I'm saying they know I'm a Christian. You get what I'm saying? And so here's the thing where outside the world, because I know I'm a marketplace minister, right? And the ministry that I do in practice and people don't even know the folks I come in contact with.
Right.
People don't have no idea the people I come in contact with, and you keep trying to limit me when God says there ain't no limits.
No, you're gonna leave nobody out.
I'm trying to tell you, can't. I'm trying to tell you, man, God sent me, man.
Yes, sir. No, I got you. I got you.
Germany, Ireland. I don't want to keep naming the places I don't counsel people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they be tripping me out. I'm trying to tell you, it be tripping me out, man. People in the UK. I'm counseling black people in the UK. That sounds funny, man, because
They got the
the accent, man. And they say hospital. They don't say the hospital.
Yeah.
Hospital.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's what I want to do, man.
Okay.
I want to work. I'm gonna keep. I want to continue serving our community. I want to help as many people as I can. I was telling you earlier, somebody came to me and said, I need you to help me start something. I said, okay.
Yeah.
I done helped other businesses start in this city by the grace of God. And they in existence. One of them right down the street from here.
Yeah.
You know
was
what I'm
telling
saying?
me about that.
Yeah. I mean, but they came to me and said, what you, da 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 da. Matter of fact, I found a place for them. I'm the one that scouted out the place that I scouted that place out. You know what I'm saying? I went before them, looked at it, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, yeah, this is a good place for you.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, okay. And they in it.
That's powerful, man. I mean, anything I could do, man, to help you in your endeavors, we're gonna keep building and talking and just be, let the ideas and things flow. I enjoy our time together. I know you kind of like my alter ego in a sense, man. You loud and boisterous. I'm a little more reserved. You know what I mean? But we making it work.
Too much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But we gonna. I like how we, like I said, we are different. I like that, right? Because we bring different aspects to the table. You know what I'm saying? So even when we talk about 2 cups, we don't even drink our coffee the same. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it still doesn't stop us from sitting down and having coffee together.
Exactly. That's all right. Well, man,
You like how I brought that around?
Yeah. No, I like that, man. But shoot, man, we gonna get ready to get out of here, man.
Yeah,
we could do this all day.
Yeah, for real.
But I know you got some work to do. I got some work to do. But before we go, man, I just want to say to all my viewers and listeners, man, just like, subscribe, man, share the episode, man. We're just trying to have high quality caffeinated conversations. It's things that are said that only you can say to a person. So if something's shared with in this platform that you think is beneficial, share with somebody else, man. We just look forward to just having more and more quality caffeinated conversation. Is anything that you would like us to touch on, or somebody special you would like to see, send us a message, send us an invite. If you would like to be on the show, message us. And until next time, 2 cups.